This is our news for June 23rd to June 27th, Monday to Friday. We present our top headlines as well as interesting news. I'm presenting along with my teammates Ella and Austin. Let's move on to our first topic, and we got our source from NBC News. The NATO meeting.
The NATO meeting happened on 2025 and it was hosted in the Netherlands. And the NATO meeting is a group of Europeans which will all go together and make their own decisions. So these group of European presidents will actually go together and they will actually talk about different things. And this time President Zelensky, or Ukraine's president, shown on my left, happened to be there, as well as this time their discounting was mostly on defense boosting. So they are mostly boosting their defense as well as making it as high as 5% in spendings. So they are trying to get a defense against many different countries like Russia and China. So they will have a lot of military spending, and also they will increase their spending on many different people and also their military. Now moving on, let's talk about the ceasefire of Iran, and I will pass the microphone to Zoe for this.
The ceasefire between Israel and Iran has become defeated, but before there was a ceasefire against Israel and Iran. The U.S. President Donald Trump has issued a ceasefire between these two countries, hours just after Iran fired at Israel. Israel, as a response, fired back, but that was because of the ceasefire. They have stopped fighting. Now they have been debating, but the war has still been going on ever since this. Trump's famous words were, "Israel, do not drop those bombs. If you do, it is a major violation. Bring your pilots home now." Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. Donald Trump really is not happy between these two countries, but we need to know more in the future. Let's talk about how Trump pushes the big, beautiful bill. Trump has been planning this law ever since April. He really wants to pass this law, so he is pushing senators in the House to make their decisions quickly. His goal, or the main goal of the big, beautiful bill, is to lower taxes. Now I'm going to talk about these three main Supreme Court cases. There are three main cases in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is a rule of judges who decide on the nation's most prestigious and highest cases. The first one is the birthright citizenship. The question is, can children of illegal parents be granted citizenship? This is up to the Supreme Court to determine this right. The second law is the cut to Medicaid money. Medicaid is a U.S. health insurance provided by the government. A lot of people are under this care, but Trump is planning to cut money on Medicaid for other purposes. A lot of people are protesting, as you can see in these couple of pictures I posted. Then we have a school in Maryland whose parents were protesting about LGBTQ books. Public schools in Maryland have been giving out lessons along with LGBTQ books, which parents say have a bad influence on people. The judges seem to be on the parents' sides for this one. I'm going to pass it on to Austin for more news.
So we are going to talk about immigration deportation. Immigration deportation happens when Trump is focusing on immigration deportation, as well as 217,000 people being deported. So many people are being deported, mostly from Mexico, as trying to cross the borders. And most people applying for green cards as a permanent citizen will actually be deported as well. For example, one person applying for green card has been sent back, and Trump has also been spending money on making Alligator Alcatraz. Alligator Alcatraz is what is known as Alcatraz in the Everglades. And Everglades is in Florida. So many people are protesting about how they are ruining many different species, as well as building inside and putting in making the forest at risk. So they will actually make many different protests, as well as Everglades, the Alcatraz. They will have many alligators surrounding it, so no one can escape, as well as many illegal immigrants. So now let's give the microphone over to Ella Wu, who will talk about an immigration story.
There was a known immigration arrest which happened inside of a beach house so a family was having vacation. In this house there was 2 U.S. teenagers and also their parents who were from Mexico. Over the night, in the morning, they heard ICE agents banging on their windows, and also they broke in. This was because they came to arrest them. They were holding the handcuffs very tight, and this is a picture of the brother and sisters, also the teenagers, who were inside their house. The parents were arrested because they were from Mexico, and they were mainly coming for the father because he was the main person from Mexico, but instead of just the father, they took the mother and also the father. So this was a little story about how there was the known immigration arrest and how they got arrested, but the 2 U.S. citizens were released. Now let's talk about the deadly heat dome over the U.S. There is a deadly heat dome of the U.S. that has been happening. Last week we have been getting temperatures from 90 to over 100. Right here I'm in Ohio, and it has been like 96 and in the 90s over last week. And people also don't have enough water, and they're fainting, but also falling unconscious. This is just because of the heat dome that has been happening to the around the northeast. And this is just because of the sun shining over different places. So people at beaches there's many hospitals that have people they have been rescuing because of the heat dome over the U.S. I'm going to pass it on to Austin, who has more news.
Let's talk about Axiom 4 rocket that makes a historic launch. So Axiom 4 rocket is a program that will create a spaceship or also a space launch that is cost $55 million per seat. And the reason why it's that expensive is because it has a trip to the ISS. So there are 3 main countries going there that have never been there before, including one from India, Portugal, and also Poland. So these 3 countries have never been to space before, as well as the U.S. will be going to space again. So this mission has 4 main people as a crew, and they are going to the ISS. And they have launched on the Dragon SpaceX Falcon 9, and these SpaceX Falcon 9 rockets will lead them to the ISS, and 3 of the countries have been sent. And they have arrived already on June 25th, 2025. And these group of people, Peggy Whitson is the leader, which is the U.S. leader. So the U.S. leader, Peggy Whitson, has already been to space for 665 days in total, and more including from now. So let's hand it over And let's talk about some more news of Elon Musk's robotaxi. So Elon Musk's robotaxi is what is his newest development, and Elon Musk's robotaxi has been released in Austin, Texas. There are about 10 to 20 right now on the road, and his main goal is to get a lot of them driving. While most of it is actually camera operated for self-drive, there is no steering wheel, and also it has been released and has been top competitor against Waymo, who uses radar. The stock increases were also up by 8%, which is a lot for Elon Musk. So now let's hand it over to Zoe Wu, who is going to talk about some more news.
The future for our 4th of July fireworks are undetermined because of Trump's tariffs. The main producer of fireworks, China, has been placing holds on the firework imports and deports. The China government wants to stop these fireworks from going out of China, so it can't reach the U.S. The U.S. citizens are becoming very worried, and small towns are likely cannot afford these fireworks. China has been producing 95% of the world's total fireworks because they have so much labor. Now to Ella, who's going to talk about a fascinating story. Over last week, there were some fireballs which were across the sky, and all these fireballs were seen across Atlanta, Greenville, and Asheville. A small one even hit inside of a home, which caused minimum damage and also fell to the floor. These fireballs were fascinating, and many people saw it on the road, and they were soaring across the sky. Next we have Dolly Parton comes back. This was such an excitement to me too, because she invited everyone to the Caesar Palace, and this was the invitation. It was live in Las Vegas. She invited everyone since everybody missed her country music, and she's the queen of it. So that's why many people wanted to go. This happened at June 25th, 10 a.m., and that's how the crowd went. Here are some pictures of Dolly Parton, and that was how her concert went. And then we have the happy retirement with the road officer. A road officer, or a crossing guard, John Wentworth, had a happy retirement. And this is because police on the sides were saluting to him, and also down the aisle came his former kids that he worked with, and also helped with being able to stop all the cars so the kids were safe. This was a happy retirement since now he is retiring, though he has had a very happy career saying good morning to children every day. As our last story, I'm going to pass it on to Zoe Wu. We will begin talking about the lifeguard who got impaled by an umbrella. A lifeguard in New Jersey has a surprising story. When a big gust of wind blew, it knocked down this umbrella, which was perched on the lifeguard chair. This ended up impaling at the New Jersey lifeguard, which happened to go through her left shoulder and out. She was thankfully revived and headed toward the hospital, where she now holds this impaled umbrella as a souvenir. We thank you for joining us for this week, June 23rd to June 27th news. See you next time for more fascinating news.